Hello and welcome to a very, very special episode of Michael and Mom Talk Cancer. I'm your official host, Michael Reed Kramer, and
I am the other official host, Ashley, aka Mom Kramer. And yeah, this is special because we are turning the tables. We were first on this beautiful man right here. We were on his podcast a few months back, and now we decided to flip it. We're having him on our podcast. And welcome. His name is Kenny Perkins.
welcome.
Known as the Cancer Guy. His podcast, Talk Oncology. That'll all be in the show notes. We'll talk about it. But thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. How are you doing today?
Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show. It's a privilege just to be in your presence. So thank you.
Please. It's a privilege that you said yes to be on our podcast. We're so excited to have you. Thank you. Wait, Kenny, tell us where you live.
You know, I'm in California. I'm in Los Angeles, California right now. And I've been here. I grew up in California my entire life. Can you believe that? I haven't been in any other place. I've lived here, Southern Cal, all my life.
And how old are you?
Oh my goodness, man. I'm old enough to be on this podcast. That's how
Oh, come on.
Okay.
You said you lived there your whole life.
Wait. The reason Michael asked that question is because pre-podcast, we should have been recording. We were having a whole conversation with Kenny about like relationships and life and love and wife. And we were like, how old are you? But then we're like, wait, let's just get into it on the podcast. So I'll tell you how old I am.
Yeah.
You ready?
Okay. I'm listening.
55. I'm almost 56. I'm a month away from 56. So I'm getting there. Are we close?
You're so young. I thought you were 25. What are you talking about? 55.
Love
you.
you.
What are you talking about?
Almost 56. All right, how old are you?
Look, I'm currently 51. Yeah.
You're
Can you
a
believe that?
baby.
You talking about?
Don't you dare say you're old.
51 is young.
I'm 5 years older than you. Oh my God.
You look a lot younger than 51. Both of you guys look a
Man,
lot
I
younger
appreciate
than your
it.
age.
You know, Michael, thanks for saying that. Usually, I never tell my age. I usually come back with how do I look? I usually start with that, right? So I already gave you the age, but how do I look?
How old do you look?
Yeah.
Because I suspected you to be like, I did suspect you to be 50, but I thought you looked like you're in your early 40s. Like you look like you're in your early 40s for sure.
Okay.
So I thought you were around 50 because we did a podcast with you and we talked a lot, and I knew you'd been in the oncology world, how long you've been doing this.
2 decades.
But how you look is like 40.
Oh, look at that.
I will give you 40.
Yeah.
You guys trying to
You
get
look like-
brownie points with me. You trying to build me up here. I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy.
But if you told me you were late 30s, I would believe you. Like,
Yeah.
It's true.
yeah.
I appreciate it, man. They say black
your
don't
skin-
crack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what they say. I don't know.
No, because your skin is very good. Like no wrinkles, very clear.
Yeah, I'm like the mom sitting here. I have all the, so you can tell who the caregiver is. I got the wrinkles. I got the gray hairs happening.
Talking
No, you look
about
great.
you look amazing, Ash. What are you talking
I
about?
love you. I love
Yes.
you. You have the Southern California glow. That's what it is.
Hey.
Yeah. All right, we have to get into this. We have to get into this. So,
Let's do it.
first thing is how you started out as a nurse. You are a nurse. You're a radiation specialist.
Yeah, radiation therapist.
That's
Board
right.
certified radiation therapist.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
AKA
Sorry, I
cancer
bungled
coach
that.
now, right? Yeah. But I
Yeah,
started out as a radiation therapist.
So is that what pulled you? We want to know your story. Like, first of all, what got you into a radiation specialist, like therapist? Sorry.
Sure.
And like, how did you get into oncology from there?
Yeah. Well, it was
We wanna
by
hear your
accident.
story.
You know, Ashley, Michael, it was really by accident. You know, growing up, ever since I was a little kid, I was like, I'm going to be an architect, right? Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, all my life. I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And when I went into high school, I was just so gung-ho. Every year I had some type of architectural class or some type of engineering class. In my senior year, I took this, it's an adult class, but when you're in high school, you can take it for free. And so they had AutoCAD and whatnot, and it was all grown men. Imagine that, right? It was like all adults in their profession. They're architects already, and now here's this little guy in high school taking this class. So I knew for sure that's what I wanted to do. But when I graduated, we were in a recession, and I've always been a person that's always taken the lead as far as taking over my life and making decisions. So I was like, man, what am I going to do? And
Yeah.
I ended up, I ended up remembering I used to do transportation for the hospital. That's kind of how I took us. Again, it was an ROP class, and that was
Okay.
one of the electives. They took me as a transporter for the hospital. So I went to the hospital to be like, hey, you guys need transportation because, I need a job. I finished high school. I'm getting ready to figure out what I'm going to do in college now that I'm not going to be an architect. And one guy was there, and this is how like sometimes like God is like sees things bigger than you. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
there happened to be a person there that was listening, and the people in transportation goes, "We're so sorry, we don't have anything available." But the guy that was standing there just so happened to be standing there at that moment, happened to be in radiology, and he says, "Hey, we have an opening for transportation for radiology," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Okay.
And that was my introduction to the field of radiology. Yeah,
It's
so that.
that's so crazy. I literally in my caregiver group this morning, we were talking about the sequence of events that sometimes like it's not that you want to go through a session, it's not that you want to like maybe be lost for a second and not know what you want to do, but those are the moments. And it's hard to say like things happen for a reason because I can tell you people say that and sometimes you're like, "Grr, don't say that. This is so hard." But things happen the way they really are meant. Like if you're open to it,
Yeah.
sometimes our things that we think are setbacks are like just open the widest doors. I love that. Okay, so you started doing
Ash,
transportation. Yeah,
yeah,
no, no,
so,
go ahead.
so listen to this, Ash. Like, I didn't even know anything about radiation oncology. We know
Right.
X-ray, right? You fall out of a tree, you break your arm. Is it broken? Yes or no? You get an X-ray, right? So in X-ray, I started to see all the different modalities that are around X-ray. So there was ultrasound, there was nuclear medicine. But one day I had to take a patient to radiation oncology, right? And I never even knew anything about radiation oncology. And this building happened to be outside of the hospital. So I transported there and I seen these people and I'm social. So I started asking, hey, what are you guys doing? What
Yeah,
is
you were
this?
social.
You know what I mean? So I was like, hey, what's this? And they're like, oh, these are cancer patients. They come in 4 to 8 weeks at a time, Monday through Friday, this and that. And I was like, man, that's me, right? Because I'm a people person. So to be an x-ray, it's like it's one and done. Like, did you break your arm? Yes or no? Okay, see you later. Maybe I'll probably never see you again. But in
Right.
radiation oncology, these guys were having 4 to 8 weeks with the patient. And they were knowing about their families, about, what they're going through, what their interests are. So I was like, that's me. So I went back and told my manager, hey, radiation oncology, that's kind of cool. What I mean? And they're like, you don't want to go into that. It's so depressing. You want to do like ultrasound or CAT scan. Or blah, blah. I was like, at that moment, I was 19. I was like, don't tell me what to do. I think I'm going to do radiation oncology.
Whatever you tell me, I'm just gonna
I'm
pick the
gonna do
other
the
thing.
opposite.
I'm
I'm gonna do
19.
But
that's
at that
it.
point in your life, did you know anyone who had been through radiation or was an oncology patient, like in your family or anything?
No, no, Michael, that's a great question. At that moment, I never knew anyone immediate that had cancer or went through it. You've heard about different people that had cancer um, throughout my life and things like that, but I never had personally experienced that.
Right.
So
Right.
I decided I'm going to do that. But get this. I was like, man, what if they come up with a cure for cancer, right? Like I need to think. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into radiology first. I'm going to become a radiologic technologist, right? And then I'm going to go to radiation therapy school. So that way, if they cure cancer, then I still have a background. I mean, I still have a backup like
You're so
radiology,
smart.
right? That was my thought
Okay.
process, right? So that's what I
Little did you
did. I
know.
went into I went into radiology first, got that, and then
Okay.
became a board certified radiation rad tech, and then went
Right.
back to school and became a radiation therapist. So yeah, that's my journey. That's how I got into this.
That's so interesting. You know what? I just have to say, like, there is something about oncology, and I love it. Like, I remember when Michael was diagnosed and we were on the floor, and the nurses, I felt like it is such a hard thing to be an oncology nurse, an oncology doctor, but the thing is, the relationships are huge. Like my daughter, when she was little, she got pneumonia once. We were in the hospital for like a week. Never saw the nurses again, never saw the doctors again. She was fine. And it was like this little blip in time. But oncology, you're with people for months, for years. And I think it really is a different thing. And I think it is hard and it is hard. It's an emotional investment, but it is so beautiful. So when you just said that, yeah, I'm a social guy. I'll see the same patients 4 to 8 weeks. But yeah, I totally get that. I love that. I vibe with that.
If you can't tell, she's very social.
Yeah,
You
I
can-
love that. You
Yes,
know,
I am.
Michael, she is. You know, and
She is.
Ash, I've noticed that about you. And I was like, but that's the gift. That's the gift that God gave
Right.
you, right? For sure.
Just like you.
For sure.
Okay, so here you are now. You get your degree, or I don't know how it works, license degree, everything that goes with it. And how did you end up like with the podcast? And this is a whole
Because
different.
is this fairly new that you've been doing
I
this?
know. Like,
Yeah.
how long have you been doing the podcast?
You know, that's a great question. I started this podcast in the pandemic. Yeah, I started it April 2020.
Wow.
But it was a thought. This is the crazy part. It was a thought back a few years before that, or several years before that. And it's interesting, right? Because I had mentioned one day, I was like, you know, would it be cool to kind of have like this show where people can come to and I was talking to a physician and I was like, wouldn't it be cool to kind of have this show that people could come to and talk about cancer and, you know, you're interacting with them and you can have different people on and whatnot. And they were like, oh, so what are you talking about? You're like, you'll be the Oprah of cancer? And then,
Yes.
and then I was like, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, it was just a thought at that moment.
Yeah.
It was just a thought at that moment. And I was like, yeah. And so you fast forward. And I was like, after doing this for over 2 decades, you start to see people, you get to know them, you get to know their families, and then you know, it's beyond treatment. It's a relationship with the patients, and it's back and forth. And being a social person, I'm doing more than just my job. You know, you come in, okay, hey, you have breast cancer, I'm going to treat that. Hey, you have prostate cancer, I'm going to treat that. And then, hey, bye. No, I've never been that person. I've always been like, you know, learning about you in between the treatments. So what's going on with you? How's going on? I can look at you and read your mood. Your body language is telling me something. So I'm going, what's going on? You know, it's because it's more, I care about people, right? I care about people, I'm not just doing a job. And so when I realize when the patient goes home and they're thinking, man, are these treatments really working? Am I going to see my family? Am I going to be around to graduate, to see my kids? You know, what's going on? Like, it's those things that I was answering as a radiation therapist day to day, right? And then I decided, like, you know what? I need to do something more. And that's my personality, right?
We can tell.
I never feel that I'm doing enough. And that's good and bad too, Ashley, but that's a whole different subject. But you know, you never feel that you're doing enough. And so I thought, you know, I needed to do more. What can I do? And this thing came along that I saw was cancer coaching. Cancer coaching, what's that? You know what I mean? And you know, yeah, you're helping people through their journey. And I was already kind of doing cancer coaching as a radiation therapist, but you know, you learn more tools along the way. So I took that, right? And that's kind of what led me into cancer coaching. Cancer coaching led me to, guess what? What can you do to help more in this podcast, right? Let's get together. Let's make this thing happen. Let's get some guests on here. Let's talk about it because people are not talking about it. And that's kind of what opened that book. I had an idea, and then I made that idea a reality, you know?
Yes.
That's awesome.
We love that.
So I had radiation. So I do want to ask, what specifically was your job?
Well, because you're still
Right.
doing it,
Yeah.
right? You're not. Yeah. You're
What
doing
specifically
everything.
did you do? Because I remember I had like radiation nurses, I think they were, and they would like take me to radiation. They would do all like the measurements and all that stuff, and they would like control the machine, whatever it was. So what exactly do you do?
And we still remember them, even though it has been over 4 years. We remember them so clearly
Yeah.
because they were incredible
I
and
love
touched
that.
and touched our lives.
Yeah, they were great.
They
It's
were
that
great.
part. It's that part, Michael, right? I mean, it's you going through treatment. These people are there every day and they're taking care of you. It's a relationship, right? And that's the part that I really thrive on. And so what did I do? I mean, as radiation therapists, we treat all the cancers that are possible, right? Brain, breast, lung, prostate, whatever, extremities, we do it all. So there's nothing that we don't treat. So that's been my exposure of radiation oncology. Now, as a radiation therapist, you see the doctor during your consult, and then you see him once a week, right? Just kind of see how you're doing,
Basically.
right? And then you see the nurse also once a week, or if you have a question. But you see your radiation therapist every single day
Yeah.
because these are the people that are pushing the button, that are lining you
Yes.
up, they're in a room with you. So that's us. So I see my patients every single day for X amount of weeks, where the doctors and nurses see them once a week or, as needed. So with that, that's the relationship, right? That's the relationship that we're building and that we're dealing with. And that's the part I love. Yeah.
What came first, the cancer coaching or the podcast? Or were they simultaneous?
Kind of both. Kind of
Okay.
both, right? The idea came years before for the podcast. Cancer coaching came first. I took that whole deal, and then I was like, spiraled into, okay, guess what? This is an opportunity now to really open that podcast that we talked about, or open that show and create that platform and bring things together, bring people from different modalities and specialists and talk about what's going on. And I think a lot of times when you get a cold, we have so much information, we know what to do. You may go get NyQuil or Mucinex or whatever it may be, and you do everything. Everything is for a cold is there. But when you get cancer, it's like, I have cancer. I don't know. We don't have enough information. And now we're hitting Dr. Google this and Google that. And, I thought there's so many misconceptions behind that. So I decided, you know what? Let's kill the misconceptions. Let's kill all of that secrecy. Let's bring some things together. Let's get this whole community and bring it and so that patients who maybe had someone who's been diagnosed with cancer, or someone they've been diagnosed with cancer, they can have that information in their arms, right? And that's my whole agenda, right? Empowering cancer patients through these insightful conversations. So, yeah.
So important to talk, and I think that there's it is a stigma, and also some people that are going through cancer. I think so often I run across people that they think, I'm not going to talk about it, I'm not going to deal with it, I'm just going to get through the treatment, put my head down, get through the treatment and move on. But then a lot of those people come back and they end up dealing with it emotionally later, because emotionally is even, I mean, Michael can talk to this, but it's even more traumatic, like the emotions that go on with cancer, the mental aspect, even more than the physical, or it's tied together. At least I think they're equal.
So can I ask you a question? And I want to hear the honest answer about this. Is it dangerous to be a radiation therapist? That's the first thing that was going into my mind, because I know you guys, I'm sure you take extreme precautions and stuff, and you're not in the room.
Yeah,
when
but is
radiation's
there a
going.
limit? Because that's
But,
true.
like,
Do you have a career limit?
Yeah.
There's no career limit in the sense of like how many years we can do this. I will say there is precautions, right? We wear a film badge that detects the amount of radiation we get. And I want to give you a perspective on radiation therapy versus an X-ray. When you go get an X-ray, a chest X-ray, or an X-ray of your hand to see if it's broken, you're dealing with what's called kilovolts, right? I mean, I don't want to get too technical, but
No,
it's
get
about
technical.
it's about
Cool.
kilovolts is 1,000. But when you're getting treated with radiation, it's megavolts, and so it's millions.
Right.
So it's about 1,000 times stronger than an X-ray. That's why we're utilizing radiation as a treatment versus a diagnosis. You've been diagnosed already, so you're coming in to get a treatment. So it is dangerous because we're dealing with a high amount of radiation. We're administering a high amount of radiation, but the precautions that we have to protect ourselves are so amazing. So we get minimum amount of radiation because of that. So yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question, Michael.
That was a really good question. He's so smart.
Yeah.
Because
That chemo brain is just not effective at
because
all.
I think about it, sometimes when the nurses give you chemo, they have to wear these humongous
We talk about
gowns
this.
and be very safe for themselves. And some nurses you can't give chemo when you're pregnant, right? That's
Yeah,
another
you
thing.
can't give chemo. Certain chemos.
Yeah,
that they can't
certain
give when
chemos they
they're
can't give if you're pregnant. So I was just curious how that worked because I don't even know how radiation works in terms of like if you get so close with someone who's just had radiation, can you possibly?
No, yes.
That's something
Great
I
question.
think about.
I mean, I get the question all the time. Is it okay to be around my kids and my family while I'm getting treatments? Because am I radioactive? And the answer to that question is no, you're not radioactive. You can be around your kids after you receive a radiation treatment, your traditional radiation treatment. Where you become radioactive is when you have some type of source, implemented into you, right? There's a thing called seed implant, right? They put radioactive seeds into you, right? So that there's an emission of some type of radiation sometimes. So those things where you're emitting some type of radiation, they may tell you, hey, be careful. There's different types of procedures that you may need to be careful, but radiation therapy traditionally administered from what we call a Linac machine. No, you're fine. You can go hang out, do whatever you want, go out to eat, go out in public, hang out, play basketball, play tennis, swim.
You don't feel that
whatever.
great though. You don't feel that good.
Yeah, I definitely did not feel
not feel
well
great.
enough to do any of that. But
No.
yeah.
They're coming up with. I did an interview with a lady from Australia, and she was talking about something that was white paper. We call that where they've done this
Yeah.
research, and the research is basically saying that people feel better and have a better recovery when they're exercising and during their treatments. And she says she exercised all the way through her treatments. Now that's not everyone, right? We all have to listen to our body. Some people don't have that type of energy, but if you do, then that's great. I think you should do that. But
100%.
yeah, you
we
should
always
definitely
talk about
listen to
that.
your body for sure.
I did that. We did
Yeah.
that. Always. Still do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We talk about that as well. I think as much as you can do, but listening to your body, as you said, is very important. Okay, so what about this book? Tell us about
yes.
the book. Because
You know-
last time when we spoke on your podcast, I didn't know you had a book, but is it new
Yeah.
or we just didn't know about it?
You just didn't know about it.
Okay.
And that
Okay.
I'm you know what, as much as I'm outgoing, and here this is the bittersweet. As much as I'm like outgoing and a people person, I do have a hard time like promoting myself. Like it's just, I do a lot of things, right? My dad says he's a jack of all trade and master of none, and I learned that from him. I do a lot of different things.
You are you are a jack of all trades and master of plenty.
I think I understand.
But
I
you
am
are-
very
you are-
similar.
master of
Right,
plenty
Michael?
and
Yeah.
master of plenty. Please.
see
I do
that,
too much.
Ash?
I do too much stuff. I have too many interests. Too ambitious for a lot of things. I understand.
I love it. I mean, I'm curious about everything, right? And
Yeah.
and I'm also have the personality where I don't think anything is impossible. I think do you have time to do it, to put the energy into it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I did create a book. Did write a book. It's the 5 stages of winning with a cancer diagnosis.
Yes,
And
I
it
saw
breaks down the different stages that you go through when you get diagnosed with cancer. And that was something I wanted to give back to, right? Because sometimes you don't realize that there's stages, and it's the shock and the disbelief, and then it's the oh my God, this can't be true. Then it's the anger. Then after the anger, then it's bargaining. Like, okay, what can I do? Right. Then it's the acceptance, and you know, it's all of these stages that we go through after you get a diagnosis. And so I wanted to put that together and give that. But it was more, right? To me, again, here we go. Writing a book wasn't enough. I was like, man, I need to do more. I created a program, right? I created a program for cancer patients. So when you first get diagnosed, you don't know what the heck to do. It's like you got slapped, you got catapulted to the front of the line of dealing with life. And in a lot of people's mind, it's like it's life or death. So you're fighting for your life, right? And I was like, no, I need to be there and help you along that process. And so I created a program called I Have Cancer, Am I Gonna Die? And that's the name of my program. And in there, I talk about, you know, the misconceptions of cancer, what people believe, and you know, it's not true. I talk about how to prepare for chemo, how to prepare for radiation, how to prepare for surgery, and getting those things right. But the most important too is your mindset. How do you get the right mindset, right?
Huge.
Because it is the determining factor of how you feel and how you project, and the things we tell ourselves matter. So I wanted to bring that, right? And that came from being a radiation therapist for 2 decades and listening to people and understanding like the treatments are great and they're coming in every day for the treatments, but it's what is going on at home. And when you're lying in bed at 2 in the morning and you can't sleep and you're looking, is this thing going to work? Is going to happen? Am I gonna, like we talked about, you're going to see your kids. Am I going to be able to be around in 10, 20 years from now? It's mindset. And so I tackle that in programs that I created. It all starts with your mind is one program, and then I Have Cancer, Am I Going to Die? Is the second.
I think that's beautiful, and we agree about mindset.
I mean, we talked so much about it. It's so true. It's like
it is true.
Literally, it's shown that your immune system is weaker when you're sad. Like, it's obviously we're not throwing blame anywhere at all.
That's the other thing, is not to blame.
It's not to blame, but it's like, you know, it's proven that a good mindset will make things easier for you. It's not going to cure your cancer, definitely not, but it will help along the journey. And I definitely know firsthand that it helped me so much, and it's the reason why I'm here, is because I just believed I would get better, and I continued to go on. And it's not an easy thing to keep a positive mindset when you're going through so much, but
and you can't always be positive 24/7
no.
either. That's the other thing, that you have to have your moments of grief too. I really do believe that. I think you can't just 24/7 be like oblivious. This is going to be perfect, but mindset is.
But it helps.
It does help. It does help.
Well,
and taking
what I love
responsibility.
what I love about you two, right? You've gone through this journey, and I had the privilege of interviewing you about it, and to see how Michael's gone, Michael, how you went, you know, down, and was like, here you were, this active person, and going out and swimming and going out to different countries and do these different things, right? I mean, we talked about that, right? And then man, to get hit with this and you can't even play ball anymore and just don't have any energy, and then up and down, and your father going through those things, and then Ashley going through, and like, so understanding that process, and then the mindset, and then deciding, no, I'm gonna fight this, right? Because there was a part in the interview. I know this interview is about me, but I'm utilizing this as a tool. Right. It's like you decide. Your mom was like, "It's okay, Michael, if you want to quit at this point, you know, because she saw you, and then you decided, no, man, I'm not here to quit. I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's continue." There was a switch, and then from there was a transformation on how you perceive things, and then from there it was like, okay, and then here we are today talking about it. It's like mindset is a big deal, man. It's big. It's not, like you said, man, it's not about cure. It's about how you go every single day through the journey. And so how can I help people, Michael, Ashley, to go through the journey and somehow find some type of joy or something along the way? something to be thankful for along this process, right? I that's my passion. This because I love people. But someone asked me one time, Kenny, why are you doing this? And I answered, because I love people. And they're like, yeah, but why are you doing this? And I was like, because I love people. But I'm going to tell you, I went home after that and I thought about, why am I doing this? And why am I so passionate? And this, you can call me a cheerleader if you want, a cancer coach, whatever you want to say. Like, why am I so passionate about it? It's like, because I understand what it's like to be counted out. I came up with that. I understand what it's like to be counted out and thinking like, that's it. And it's not it. Just because you counted me out doesn't mean that that's the end of my story. And so to see people like yourselves and so many of my guests that come in and be like, no, they have the mindset and the resilience to bounce back. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what I wanted to do when I started the show, right? And so when you think about, man, don't get me ranting, man. I can go on
No,
forever.
we want you ranting.
No,
I
it's-
love it.
you
I
know,
love
very
you
motivational.
ranting.
We
It's
love it.
beautiful.
When you think about, I had this thought, someone laughed at it, right? They were like, oh, you're going to be the Oprah? Yeah. And I didn't understand that my passion about it, because I understand what it's like to be counted out. I didn't understand when I was asking these patients about their lives and things beyond just, you're here to get a treatment and please get out of my room. I only have 15 minutes. I need the next patient. No, it was about, I understand what you're going through. Not that I understand in the sense that I had cancer, but I understand what it's like to feel counted out and so vulnerable. I'm going to take care of that vulnerability. I'm going to not take advantage of it. I'm going to cherish that. I'm going to let you know that, man, you're not alone in this. We're in this together. And that's my phrase, right? And so that's how I came up with that. That's why I do the things I do. And man, I'm passionate about why I'm here. And it's just a matter of time before one day I am the Oprah of cancer. Right?
You are.
You
are to us at least.
I know you're.
And you know it's gonna get there, and it's what you're doing is helping so many people, and it's so inspiring to see someone who's not even a cancer survivor themselves doing this beautiful work. Like the fact that, like, because the only people in this community are either survivors, caregivers, or someone who's lost someone very close to them. Like I rarely see anyone who hasn't been through it themselves. So it's so beautiful to see you doing this work, and all the work that you've done just helping people get through radiation and all that it's beautiful.
And
Man,
your
I
passion, we feel your huge,
And we need,
enormous.
We need people
heart.
like you in the cancer community. You know, it's it can be a very sad place where, of course, these people are in the right to feel this way. But a lot of people where they just feel sorry for themselves, and to have someone like you who's trying to empower people to have a good mindset and get through this very difficult thing called cancer, it's great to see that. So we're really appreciative of your work, man.
I
Man,
love
I
what you
appreciate
just
you.
said.
Yeah.
Because it's true, having that mindset. And when you were talking, that's what I was thinking too. That's like one of the few things that we do have control over.
It's how we
because
react.
so often we don't have control over the chemo, the radiation, how our body is going to feel, but we do have control over our mindset. So I love how you're empowering people so much through the coaching. I think that's what you're doing. You're giving people control back that they feel they've lost.
Yeah.
I love that.
Man,
What
thank you.
is your, if someone is starting their cancer journey, do you have like a piece of advice that would be your greatest piece of advice?
For anyone that's starting their cancer journey right now and just been diagnosed and feeling overwhelmed, shocked, just know you're not alone. There's a community out here that's you can reach out to, and a lot of times people don't feel like they can reach out, or it's an embarrassment, or to ask for help, or to whatnot. And that's why I created a program. There's a program, I don't care what type of cancer you have, whether it's lung, whether it's pancreatic, whether it's, brain, whether it's prostate, whatever, breast. I have a program entitled "I Have Cancer, Am I Going to Die?" Right? Because that's the first thing that happens.
Right.
Am I going to die from this thing? And I walk you through step by step, and I'm there for you. My team is here, and that's why I created this program. So, it's one thing, Michael, Ashley, it's one thing to have an idea. It's one thing to pursue and put it to action, but it's another thing when you get a reaction from others about your idea, right? Because you don't know. You're just like, I'm going to go ahead and do it. That's, some entrepreneurs do. I'm going to go ahead and do this and let's see how it works. And you don't know. But when you start to get the feedback and you start to see how people feel about what you've created, it sends back a message to you that you're on the right path. And I always say cancer doesn't discriminate, whether you're young,
No.
old, black, white, rich, poor. Cancer does
We say
not
the same
discriminate.
thing.
It comes for you, and when it happens to you, how do you deal with it? And we have phenomenal guests on our show, and it's not about name dropping, but it's about proving that cancer doesn't discriminate. We had Alex Trebek, we had his wife on the show, Jean Trebek, and she talked about what it's like to be a caregiver, right?
Yeah.
And everyone always focuses on the cancer patient, rightfully so. But let's not forget the caregivers and the family members who are there to support them, because I've seen it. So to be able to talk to Jean, she was like, oh my God, someone sees me. Yeah, I see you. I understand what you're going through. And let's talk about it. We had Samantha Harris with Dancing on the Stars. She was diagnosed with breast cancer, and we had her on the show, what that was like for her, and going through that, right? It doesn't matter who you are. The feelings are real. It's universal, and we're all human beings. So to be able to capture that and let people know, if you're going through cancer, you're being diagnosed, you're not alone in this. All Talk Oncology, Kenny Perkins, a.k.a. your cancer guy. I'm your cancer guy.
It will be in the show notes, but we're going to one-up you on podcast guests because we have had Kenny Perkins on our podcast. So we're just going to one-up you there.
Hey.
It's a competition. We win.
Yes, fun question.
Yeah. Okay. Can we ask a few just personal fun questions?
Yeah, we're gonna ask some
100%.
fun questions.
Just for fun.
Okay, so this one, I'm gonna be interested to know the answer to this one, honestly. Who is the one person in the world that you would say has had the most impact on you? Just like one person.
That's hard.
It's
right?
a hard one, but I'm interested to see what you say.
Outside of my parents,
It could be your parents.
But you want your parents to be first. It could be your parents, and you could pick someone else.
well, it's that really, right? One, the saying. There's these sayings, Michael, and I always wonder, where do these things come from? But they make sense. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So what you learn and the values you have comes from your parents, because that's what they taught you.
True.
And it's not until later, if you need to change those things or get better at certain things, that you go out and get that help. But that's where you first learn those things. So who I am, and I have to give props to my parents for that, right? Also being a God-fearing man, that helps. That helps with the humility, and also just why I stay grounded. But influential, like who has been influential in my life where I've been like, oh man, I have too many.
Yeah.
I have too many really people, because I'm always asking questions. And there's been people who've sat down with me and really helped me. I have a mentor for business. I have a mentor for spiritual things. I have a mentor for just my personal things. I have friends around me that really care about me. And, it's interesting because I am a social person, Michael. I love your question. Because I'm a social person, I know a lot of people.
Of course.
And so that can be misconstrued as man, you have a lot of friends. No, it's not. I have a lot of friends. I know a lot of people, but my friends, man, that's a small circle. So, your friends, they're priceless, really. They're priceless, and those are the people who have influenced me, in my character a little bit.
Michael Kramer, should we flip it on you? Who's the one person that has influenced you the most?
Probably my cat.
Okay.
Okay, we'll have to change it from cat to what living being, because I'm not sure that cat is a person, but
It's obviously my mom. Like, it's obvious.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's my mom, of course.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna cry.
It's good to say it.
The resilience I got is from her. She's very resilient. Everything I've learned is from this woman right here.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna cry, but then that will just have to make me ask a really. All right, now this is another question for you, Kenny. If you could have any superpower in the universe, what would it be?
Teleport.
I like it.
Mine.
You see that, man? You see, I didn't even hesitate.
That's mine
I need to
too.
teleport.
I love that
Just
one.
go to Italy.
Yeah, just go
No,
anywhere.
man. It's not even the selfish things. It's like you want to teleport sometimes and then go back and fix things now that you know things now, right? And you're like, man, I can go back and change that, or you know what, we can go back and it's always like it's for that. It's really going back and being able to help people back that were going through some other things. Man, I that part comes from my mom, right? Just always like a nourisher, right? Most guys are not that, but that's. Yeah, and it's just about making things better, just so we can have a better life. Not everyone has a great life.
I love that.
It's beautiful.
That's
I'm next
beautiful.
to two men that are nourishers. Wow.
Nourishers, yeah.
I am like, and the cat's not far, so I am surrounded. All right, you get the next one.
What's your favorite book that you've read, or movie? Which
Book or movie? You can do, or you can do both.
Whichever one you want to answer.
Something just personal. We want to know about Kenny, like
Yeah.
when you're at home alone, having
Like
chilling.
the fun stuff.
Something
My
about you.
goodness.
I know
goodness,
it's hard to pick one.
It really is.
Just pick one of your favorites.
Favorite movie. I like the Best Man.
never seen it.
I watched that. It's called The Best Man, and it's about a friendship. It's about friendships,
Okay.
and it's a bunch of guys who grew up together and went to college, and they all became successful in their own right. But they get together to come back for this wedding. One of their best friends is a football player, and he comes to find out that his best friend had a relationship with his soon-to-be wife, and then that's kind of how the story folds.
Interesting.
I don't know
but
that
it's-
movie.
sounds like a
Okay,
movie
maybe
I'd like
we're
to
gonna have to
watch.
look it up.
But yeah, The Best Man.
Okay, we're gonna look it up. If should we do the wish one? If you
Yeah.
could make one wish.
Like you had a magic
One
wand,
wish.
you can change anything about the world or have one wish.
One wish. What would it be?
Mm.
There's no limitations.
If I could, I mean, I would eliminate sickness for sure, right?
That's great.
Yeah.
I would eliminate sickness if I could, right? I mean, that would put a lot of people out of business, but you know what? We will all be healthy, right? And
Yeah.
sickness is what leads to death. But if you eliminate sickness, then no one's dying, right? But that's not something as human beings we can do. That calls for something in the spiritual realm to handle that. So, that's the spiritual man in me. But you see, death is the enemy. It's the enemy of life, right? And so, man, you see so many people. I have one of my best friends. She's on a podcast, and when I first started, she didn't want to do the podcast because she was nervous. Like, what do I do? What do I say? Blah, blah, blah. And so what I did, I kind of tricked her.
That's
I was
okay.
like,
You're allowed.
let's go. Let's do a dry run. Let's kind of see how this works out, and let me know what you think about it. So I hit record and went through it, and there was the episode,
Of
and she was
course.
like, "Oh
Of
my
course.
God, that was it." I was like, "That's it."
Talking to you is not that hard, I gotta say.
Oh, thank you, Ashley. I appreciate it.
It's
You
true.
know, I appreciate it, Michael. And that was my girl. And she fought. She fought. But yeah, yeah, for sure. That's yeah. I don't even know what the question was. I went on a tangent, but it was about what was my wish, and it's about
Yes,
eliminating sickness, and
for sure.
I thought about her too. So
No.
yeah,
Did she not make it?
she did not make it. No, she
Okay.
did not make it.
Okay.
But beautiful things have come out of that.
As they always do.
As That's the crazy thing about pain. That's why it's that one wish thing is always kind of a hard question, because we want to wish pain away. As a caregiver, as a mom, as a wife, as a friend, we want to wish pain away for the person we care for, but then we realize that is also the best teacher in the entire universe is pain.
Yeah.
And you don't want anyone to go through it, but then that's how we learn. That's how
Yeah,
we grow anyway.
for sure.
I hate it.
I hate it. Don't want to go through cancer, but at the same time, it's been like the biggest teacher ever. Right? Okay.
So should we ask the
Yes.
signature question?
I asked you do it.
Our final question. So if you knew that today was your last day alive, you were dying tomorrow, what would you do today?
Michael, what's going on with all these questions, man? You killing
Those
me
are our
right here.
questions.
These are our
Have you
questions.
listened to our podcast?
We
These
have
are-
these
are
like specific questions we ask at
We
the
always
end.
ask these at the end. There's
Yeah.
like 5 that we always
Yes.
ask.
Yeah,
Someone could prepare if they listen.
true.
It's my last day on Earth.
Yeah.
Everyone that knows me, I get the spotlight, right? I get the spotlight. Everybody news cast on everything, right? I'm imagining this, and I'm like maybe able to talk because, for whatever reason, I would tell everyone that I know that if I hurt you in any way, right? Is there anything that I did to offend you, bring ill will? I apologize for that. And this thing in life that we're learning, sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we do things because of our own upbringing. And so I hope that you can find peace in my farewell, right? Hope you can find some peace in knowing that we don't need to hold resentment. We need to find forgiveness and peace and give grace, right? And so that's what I would say on my final. It's always about someone else. It's never about me. So,
Beautiful.
yeah,
No one's ever said that before.
Yeah, that's true.
That was
Thank
very
you.
beautiful.
appreciate that.
beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
You know what I find out? I'm nice. People like, man, people don't like nice guys. And I could be a bad boy. I could be a nice, but I mean, as a human being, right? It's like, this is who I am. I can't hide it. I don't want to hide it. This is my
course.
person. This is my
It's who you are,
person.
man.
And thank God he gave me this. Thank God that I can be able to be a light to people in darkness. And that's my legacy that I hope that I can leave behind, that I was a light to someone in their darkest moments. And I cared enough, and I didn't need to know you personally or have this, you're my best friend. That's why you could be a stranger. I want to make sure I give to you. And one friend gave me the biggest compliment ever. I'll never forgive it. I'll never forget it. She says, Kenny, it doesn't matter where people are. They can be on the surface, very superficial, or they can be in the depths, deep sea. Like you'll find them. You'll match them. If they want to stay superficial, you'll stay there. If they want to go deep, you'll go deep with them. And man, I thought, man, that is me. And I appreciate that. I appreciate her for giving me that. And I appreciate you guys for having me on the show. Right? You guys got me. Got me.
Yeah, we got you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. But I'm just gonna have to say though, we love nice guys. but I think what people don't like is fake nice guys. You're real, genuine, true. It is your heart that we feel. Beautiful human.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yes.
You know, Michael, I always say this, Michael. I don't want to cut you off, but I always say, you know, when you talk to a woman and they have intuition. My mom taught me that. And so it's like, if you want to BS, they're going to sniff that out. If you're a true person, they're going to sniff that out. And so to get that compliment from you, Ashley, a woman who has intuition, a woman who is in tune, and to give me that compliment, it means a lot to me. And thank you, Michael, also for co-signing on that as well.
Of course.
We love you. You are
Love you,
beautiful.
man.
Everyone look in the show notes. You
Yeah.
can find Kenny. You can find his book. You can
Yeah.
find his website, podcast, everything. The Cancer Guy. Go to him for coaching. Sign
Here
up.
for
I
you.
love it.
And
I love it.
he's single now, so you know.
Single what?
I said he's single now.
Apparently, that's what we heard. We heard he's single. So, girls, I don't know.
No.
If you get some DMs, you after this podcast, Kenny, you thank us.
Yeah.
We'll thank Michael.
Yes.
Oh my God, I love it.
All right, thank you guys so much for listening. And this is an official goodbye from your host, Michael Kramer.
And an official goodbye from Ashley, and an official thank you, Kenny. It was beautiful talking with you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thank you, and thank you to everyone for listening. We will talk soon. Mwah.